Hi everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. In this video I'm just going to show you guys how to do a quick sort of sea base, sandy, seaside, under the water, seabed style base, and it's basically for sort of the idea of painting some sea creatures. This is what is it, the Poseidon? Avatar of Poseidon. I had to look at the card there, from Rum and Bones too, but there's all sorts of miniatures that you may or may not want to go for a seabed looking theme. Benson is currently painting his Nids, Tyrannoids, and he wanted to paint them in the like Leviathan, doesn't mean a lot to me, scheme, and he wanted to do these in like a seabeddy base, so hopefully there might be some, because he's not finished doing one yet, but hopefully some at the end that you can have a look how they look from the end of this video. So I'm just going to walk you through this sort of creation. These are a couple of test ones I did with various colours of coral and sand. So let's see what we can do and work out how we're going to base this little fella later on. So we're going to start off with, I've got a 25mm base. Actually, the bigger the better. It's going to be somewhat easier to do, I think, if the base is bigger, but that's all I've got because I don't have any spare bases, and this was just cut off one of my zombie side guys. Next, I'm going to be using a whole range of products by Gatehouse Gaming UK, and I've really, this is probably some of the nicest sand I've used today. I really like the sort of shells that are in there and the little pebbles and stuff, and I think it looks really, really realistic, really nice sand. And then they do all these corals. So we've got, well, this is actually a hedge, but it's the same, right? So they've got this red coral-esque looking stuff and a browny one. They do a blue, really vibrant blue, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then this is an autumn hedge, but essentially yellow, it's yellow coral. We've got 4 choices of coral. Obviously, the more you're painting, like Benson's Nids idea, he's going to have a whole army, so we'll just really randomize the coral as we do those. So let's have a look. We're going to take some PVA glue. This is Army Painters Battlefield basing glue. There'll be links in the description below to all of the products that I use in here, and picking them up from Army Painter, from Element Games, I guess, does support the channel. There'll be affiliate links just to warn you. But yeah, it won't cost you any extra and will support the channel a little bit. I think 5% of whatever you buy helps fund this channel, so we can keep coming up with some products to try out for you guys, that sort of thing. So I've just got this 3D printed by Johnny085 subscriber. It's got the little smiley face. I don't even know if that is relevant to anybody from when the channel first started, but it's looking awesome. There's a link in the description below as well where you can pick these up in Thingiverse. Eventually it's basically just a spatula. So I've applied PVA glue to the whole top of this base, and I'm just going to spread it semi-evenly. I don't really mind if it's not completely even, because that's just going to be what a seabed looks like, right? It's going to be all up and down, round and round. I really should have stuck this to my hobby holder first, just so I've got a little bit more control without covering my hands in glue. So if you are using a hobby holder, whip that out, and then you're just not going to be gluing your fingers. Not that PVA glue really matters that much, but there we go, nice even coverage. And then we're going to take this Pirate Bay sand, Gatehouse Gaming. Did I mention Gatehouse Gaming, guys? Loving it. But I'm just going to pick an area that I want some pebbles in, and I'm just going to stick it in. Obviously this hasn't got a miniature on, so I'm going to have that advantage, but in it goes, nicely covered. Oh, I didn't get quite as many pebbles on it as I want. I'll go for a second press, but probably not going to work. Oh no, it did. Second press picked up some extra pebbles, and then I'm going to tap that off. Basically just leave that to dry now, so I'll be back in a bit once that's all set. See you in a sec. So that's dried now quite nicely. Looks like a nice sandy beach. So that's a good tutorial if you just want a sandy beach, I guess. But we are going to be trying to make it look a bit more like a seabed, or can you have coral washed up on the beach? Maybe, I guess so. And then it's really just a choice of colours, and I think given that the sand's yellow, I'm just going to try blue and red just as a high contrast. And you saw on the ones I've practiced on before, I've got blue and red already. Maybe I should try something else, and red and yellow. I think I prefer the blue and red. I also like this little standalone bit over there, so I'm just going to pay attention to that sort of stuff. So we'll pop open the Gatehouse Gaming UK's blue, and we'll pop up with the red while we're there as well. Just we've got it ready. Just move the red out of the way. We'll start with blue, and really it's just picking a piece that you want to work with. And I like this little scraggly bit over here, so I'm just going to use my crafts knife and try and isolate a piece that I would like, and I'm just liking the look of that little bit there, so we'll nab that, and then I think we'll have 2 bits of blue. So, ooh, do we want a big, like this is almost like a spiny piece, or do we want a bushy piece? I think we want a spiny piece, so I'll have this little bit here. Just going to trim down some of the stem. I think that's just a bit too much given this 25mm scale. So we've got 2 pieces of blue. Pop all of that back. I mean, look how much you get. That's going to last forever. I could actually do a whole fake beach to play on if I wanted. And then let's get a bit of red. I think another little bushy piece, medium bushy. What do you think? Nobody can apply. Oh, this is all entwined. I think I'm just going to pull out that little piece there. I'm just going to try and keep it a bit small. I think I did the other pieces quite large, and it is only 25mm base, and I think it was a bit over the top, but we'll see. You can always add more. You can always add more, and it's all going to be a bit personal preference. It's all with all slightly different tastes, but really we're just going to go for these little bits. So I'm just going to bring these 2 in for some reference while I go forward and work out what to do. And I think something like 2 bits together and 1 just standalone. Oh, in fact, a good idea is just to test it beforehand before we apply the glue. Try and get that stood up a bit like this. We'll try and get the blue one stood right next to it, maybe like something like this. It's quite springy, this stuff. It's going to be a little bit tricky to glue into place. And then we'll maybe just put this bit over here, just chilling by itself. Something as simple as that. We can use a bit of Army Painter's super glue, and this is really a question of how lucky do we feel? How should we apply this super glue? I think we're going to use the tweezers because I'm sick of gluing my fingers. Got these are Army Painter's tweezers as well that I'm using, and I'm really enjoying them actually. I've got quite a few different tweezers at the moment, and these are just the sharpest and I think like almost the most accurate. They're probably going to be the bluntest once I've got enough glue on them to ruin them, but let's hope I don't glue them together. Just pin that down for a split second. Could actually use Army Painter's activator, but I'm not going to have to touch this very much, so once it's in position, hopefully that'll stick there nicely. Glued them a little bit. I'm just going to give them a wipe, guys, because I would like to not ruin my nicest tweezers. I just say they're my nicest, and then like cover them in super glue, never use them again. So next we'll try this red one. I actually really like the positioning I did. So we'll just try and get a little splurge of super glue just on the bottom here, something like that. I mean, it's going to dry clear, so I think I can go more than I mean to. Let me just, this pair of Army Painter tweezers actually comes with 2 in the set, and I'm getting 2 involved now. Oh, that's not quite where I wanted it. Get over there. Yeah, just a bit more to the edge, just giving me enough space to plant any miniatures I would actually put on this base. Just going to, again, try and pin that down for a second, and then I'm going to try and get away with it still stuck to the base. Not quite setting. This is taking a while. As I mentioned, Army Painter actually have got an activator, a little spray. Could give that a little spritz, and yeah, it would instantly set. It does leave the super glue a little bit white, a little bit visible, and I would like this to disappear. There we go. That's where I wanted it. Let's try not to knock it free. And then again, I'm going to try and glue this one in upright. So I'm going to turn it over, just get a little bit of glue on the old stem. I almost want to just put the stem inside the glue. And we're going to turn that round just to get the glue in the position I would like it. Get both tweezers involved again. This is actually, oh no, they're all stuck together and now doing whatever they want. That's back in position. Just maybe, actually what would have been better is to let that red set first, so it would have glued in position before I got that one involved. And that's pretty much what I wanted, I think. Maybe just this blue around a little tiny bit. And then it's just a matter of leaving that to dry. I think that's roughly what I want, looking a bit corally. So I'll be back once that's set. So hopefully, I know the super glue is now completely set. These are a lot more safely in place. You can give them a good flick. I won't flick them too much because I don't want to ruin how they're shaped. But yeah, that's it. They're a bit fiddly to stick in position, a little bit of difficulty with the tweezers, but once you can just leave them placed in position, they set really, really firmly, and they're not going to come off anyway. So for the next step, I'm just going to take some black. Any black will do, but I'm using the Army Painter's matte black just here. And I'm just going to paint, I'm using the worst brush in the world. I'm just going to paint around the rim and just make this all black and bring your attention back to the top. Now, black might not be the best colour for painting this with the sand being so pale. There might be a better alternative, but I really like black. I think it just really gets rid of the rim, which we don't care about. We just care what's on top. So I'm just going to go whiz around this and be back once I've finally painted all the way around. So with a black dry, that's basically it. That's it. That's how I wanted it. A bit of a seabeddy look. Now, I could go for a sort of a gloss wash on this, and that will make the sand look wet if you do want it to make it look potentially a bit like under the sea, a bit damp still. Or a matte wash is going to make it look basically as it does now, semi-dry, if not completely dry. I think it's got a little bit of a shine to it because of the glue that was used. So maybe a matte wash would just you know, dry it out a little tiny bit potentially. But yeah, I'm probably actually going to gloss wash this and make it a bit shiny, a bit like it's wet. Now, while practicing and showing you it just on a plain base, I did also paint up this Poseidon. What was it called? The Avatar of Poseidon. And then yeah, I've just applied that to his base. Gone for 3 colours on this just to give it a bit of pizzazz, and I think that's looking nice. He looks like he's in the sea, like a big sea monster would. I'm fairly happy with that, how it came out. Made it a very unique base, something I've never done before, and probably will do quite a few of the Rum and Bones one with this sort of coral effect. But yeah, happy with that. Let me know what you think in the comments below, guys, and if you'd like to see some more basing tutorials. Thank you all ever so much for watching. I'll see you again next week.